Welcome to Singles, Convos, and Community podcast, episode 2. I'm so excited to introduce our special guest, Mia Poppe, a bold, brilliant matrimonial attorney who's earned a reputation for taking on some of the toughest custody and divorce cases out there. She's a South Carolina native and the granddaughter of a sharecropper, and she carries that legacy of resilience and wisdom into every part of her work. Before entering law, Mia held leadership roles at major institutions like Citicorp, GE Capital, and Bank of America. So whether it's in the courtroom or the boardroom, she brings sharp strategy, real-world experience, and a deep sense of purpose. Now based in New York, with offices in Manhattan and Westchester, she's made it her mission to help clients, especially single parents, navigate major life changes with strength, clarity, and confidence. She's also a proud mom, active in her community, and the author of The Empowered Woman's Guide and Unbreaking Wonder Woman, with another powerful book on the way. In this episode, we're talking about what it really takes to rebuild after a breakup, set boundaries that protect your peace, and create a life that feels truly your own. Whether you're newly single or years into solo parenting, this one's for you. Let's jump in.
I am just telling you, it is so true of my whole entire life to this day that I get by with a lot of help from my friends. And let me tell you, I've never, this whole false humility nonsense has never been my jam. Like, I had friends, I'm thinking of one friend in particular, Walter Hamilton, for like a year. Every day, this very good friend of mine, this young man, was picking my children up from school and then taking them 3 different places for extracurriculars. And that went on like over a year. I had another really good friend, William Grissett, God rest his soul. He's now passed away. But for, I don't know, a very long time, he was cooking homemade prepared meals, boxing it up. I mean, the full bounty, and sending it to my house. And I never did this false humility. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got to ask you a favor. I always need to get to point A, B, and C.
Wow.
And I'm just telling you, people held me up. People held me up. And like, you just don't do this life alone. You know, Kim mentioned, that I've written 2 books and I'm working on the 3rd one. But in one book, The Empowered Woman's Guide to Navigating Divorce, I actually give 10 guidelines. And one of the guidelines is team up. Like, I don't know the people who are gonna do this transition from being maybe a married person or even a single person with no kids, and do this transition into single parenting without a tribe. So, like, I can't even address that, Kim, because I've never lived my life without a tribe. And I rely on my tribe. Just telling you, Kim, and listen, if you're in a situation where you don't have friends, listen, being a friend is a skill set. And you develop that skill set through practicing.
Yeah.
And sometimes friendships don't work out, but you don't stop trying to nurture other friendships. And friendships, like all relationships, like, it's work. And it calls for high EQ, high emotional intelligence, but you got to develop those things. Those are skill sets. EQ is a muscle that you have to develop it. And there are ways to develop it. How do you develop it? The next time somebody says something that just hurts your little feelings, defer on that opportunity to give them a piece of your mind. Hold your silence.
Yeah.
That's building up an EQ muscle. Time somebody insults you, smile at them. And the reason why you're smiling at them is because you're laughing inside, saying, Bless your sweet little heart. Develop that EQ muscle.
How do you know the difference between the EQ and repressing, because, a lot of experts will say, no, you should speak up. You should express yourself if you have a problem with something. There's a fine line. How do you know which side to veer on depending on the situation?
Right. So what a profound question. So the latter, what you just described, somebody who's, repressed, right? Somebody who's been in a situation where there's punishment, right? That's a whole nother thing. And hopefully we'll have the opportunity in this show to talk about getting healed. That because when you say that, you're talking about an unhealed person. And when you're unhealed, you really can't execute on any journey until you master healing, right? So when I say develop EQ, that's a journey. And you can't even embark on that journey until you have done the heavy lifting work of, of getting healed. I was on another podcast recently, Kim, and I said on there, I said, well, it's not so much my jam, Michelle Obama saying, when they go low, we go high. But what my total jam is, when they go low, you better get healed. You better get healed. You cannot walk this life successfully walking around with hurt feelings. Because if your feelings are always hurt, that's a red flag to you think everything is about you. Kim, if I say something insulting to you right now, it's not about you. It's about poor Mia. Somebody must have really hurt her for her to say something that ugly to me. It's not about you and your hurt feelings. Right. It's there
hurt
was
people. What is it? Hurt people, right?
Hurt people. There's some malignancy in me that I would show up and insult you, Kim. Yeah. Right? So when people are always pulling everything back to themselves, oh, this person hurt my feelings and they did me wrong. Too bad on them. Right. Go make your great life. Everybody who didn't treat me well, I'm sorry. I can't take your phone calls. They won't even get to me because my team screams them out.
Boundaries.
So it's deep. And listen, somebody says, okay, Mia, where do I begin? Begin at ground zero. Mm-hmm. And I believe ground zero is a place of silent meditation and getting quiet. Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm a Southern devout Christian girl. So for me, that meant, in the mornings, right, being up anywhere between 4:45 and 5:15. Because listen, if you say you have any problems or troubles in your life, okay, and your head is still on a pillow at 9 a.m., oh, clearly you must not have any problems. Because because if you have problems, if you have challenges,
you're not gonna be on that pillow.
You get up and you meet your God. You meet your solace. You meet your peace in the morning.
When things are still.
When things are still. Mm-hmm. I think people intuitively know that, but they intuitively don't do that. And let me tell you, the more beautiful you are, the more smart you are, the more valuable you are, the more successful you are. Nobody loves that shiny, shiny woman like a narcissist loves that shiny, shiny. Because you're
stepping on some toes now, Mia.
You're gonna make him look good, so you're gonna be targeted. And so, it's easy for the narcissist to see that, right? And so I was love bombed, and as were my friends, because you could see if you come in contact with me, there's a tribe. And so not only
and that narcissist spotted exactly what
I got love bombed.
They played right into it, right?
My friends were benefactors. It was like, oh, Mia, bring a couple of these amazing girlfriends you have. Let me take everybody to a show and to dinner. So, I wasn't love bombed by myself. My girlfriends were love bombed too, because they were like, oh God, he's so great. They're smart.
So Mia, tell me this. Ooh, this discussion is hot. what in those experiences that you had guided your desire or ambition to develop a law practice of your own? How did that all come about in the midst of divorce, having children, like switch, going from the boardrooms to the courtroom? When did that take place?
Okay, so Kim, when I was a little girl, and when I say little girl, I mean like third, fourth grade, 8, 9 years old, I made up my mind that professionally, I was going to be a businesswoman and I was going to be on the phone all day talking to lots of people. I was going to be a psychologist and I was going to help people and I was going to be a lawyer. Now, the interesting thing about the be a lawyer prong is when I was coming up with those three things as this little girl in Charleston, South Carolina, I had never personally, I mean, I didn't, the only lawyer I knew was Perry Mason on TV. I'd never
I loved him.
knew a lawyer. I never crossed paths with a lawyer. And it wasn't until I was in college on a different world that I ever saw a lawyer of color, Claire Huxtable. And my lawyers that I knew were limited to literally Perry Mason and Matlock. Like, right? That's all I knew. But anyway, so I was working in the financial sector and I divorced my first husband. And, I got back on my feet. I retooled. Um, and I retooled because I had a professional skill set. Like, retooling is huge. I retooling is huge. Let me just say that. And it makes a difference in you and your children's lives.
Can you define retooling just for the people that are, that are not
So
familiar with that?
retooling. So, all right. So sometimes when you get married, you might leave the workplace when you have children, or just in taking care of your family, you kind of back off the career path. You still might be, working, but you kind of back off the career path, right? And so when I say retooling, I mean, you got to get back in the workplace and you got to be strategic about it. And you got to look at the needs of your children and you have to retool. So, and you don't buy anything significant. And what was significant was you don't buy back your time. And so that's what I did. So I left Bank of America and I began prepping to take the LSAT, the test that you have to take to get into law school.
Mhm.
I began prepping for LSAT and I applied for law school, which was a major retooling. I went to law school as a mature person. I had 3 sons at the time. I graduated with honors in the
Were you a
top.
single mother at this point too?
I had 3 kids.
And you weren't married. You were divorced.
No, I was a single mom. So all of this came after I divorced. So divorce had severe economic consequences for me. And I mean, listen, I think I had my financial life after that divorce. I think I had my financial life back on track maybe in 18 months. I was busting my ass, making no excuses at all. And Kim running my friends down because they were babysitting while I was working. Like, sometimes like when I hear people's real stories and they go, well, I can't do this, I can't do that because I don't have any, I can't afford a babysitter. And I'm always thinking, you failed at cultivating friendships. That's thing one. Because if you've cultivated friendships, this is the truth, Kim. Every girlfriend will babysit your kids for free for you to work. And community really is everything. And listen, we don't have to nail everything just right. Okay? To err is human. But let me tell you, your community, they're like God. They erase them sins and cast them into the sea of forgetfulness.
And love you on through it.
And love you on through it.
You'll find your tribe. And thankfully, there are organizations like Single Mom Societies. There are other groups of people. So if you're looking for a tribe and you're working in isolation, which we now talked about is not necessarily the best thing, especially for
It's
moms.
not. And I want to just talk about your platform, the Single Mom Society, because I want to be very clear that that is a community,
Yeah.
and it is a community based on a key affinity. And the affinity is the community understands intimately the heavy lifting of raising children when you don't have a second partner in the household with you. And that's for moms and dads.
Yeah.
And that affinity is powerful because that platform, that group, they get it. The things that challenge you, they get it.
Yeah.
Like they get it,
Yeah.
and they can give you practical to dos.
Yeah.
Because listen, everybody doesn't know how to do, how to move. It your platform is is a repository of information.
Yeah.
Like, what's challenging you? Bring it to the
I love how
platform.
you brought that full circle. And I shared with you before the interview that we have the single parent review, which is what we're under on the channel, Singles, Convos, and Community, that speaks to our dads as well, because we realize that our moms who are encountering our dads, co-parenting, divorce, whatever the case being, we all need the support. So we had a show, our first episode was with 100 Black Men of Austin. And it was a Father's Day special. And we were focusing on, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, the support for our fathers, because we realized that although our moms, we work independently, we're looking for our tribes, our dads need it too.
And single parenting, this is genderless. Single parenting is heavy lifting.
Yeah.
It's really not well suited for those who lack emotional management. And that's another muscle that has to be developed, because listen, kids are like this. Like, kids take you on a roller coaster. Kids say things that are to the left, like, what? What? Back up, stop this train.
Girl.
And so, like, you've got to have emotion, like, it's just heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I am a single parent, and that has always, I have had the time of my life raising my children. And that's because I've always framed it that way. And I've always seen my children as a gift from God. Like, that's how I see it. I have never framed it as a burden. But what I do frame it as all the time, this is some heavy lifting.
Yeah. Girl.
This is some heavy
It
lifting.
sure is.
And I use that analogy to
Those
tie
teenage years was
into,
some real heavy. It was like, whoop.
it's you got to develop muscle for that. And what better way to have a community, a platform to talk you through it.
A few questions. This is what a lot of, we had some questions that came in and we folded them into the questions that we already had. I want to ask you, for a lot of single parents, the aftermath of tough relationships is disorienting. They're disorientate, oriented, trying to rebuild while parenting, they're grieving, they're trying to stay afloat. What advice would you give to someone in that space, just trying to put one foot in front of the other as they're trying to navigate maybe the legal system,
Oh,
as well as trying to navigate their parenting? That can be a what is it? What is the expression? A beast of its own, or whatever that expression is.
oh,
How
I have some expressions for it.
tell us tell these our moms and dads that are out here in the thick of that.
So, two things that I'm really hearing, like, what is it like, the court, but how do you, after just everything crashes from a divorce? So first of all, um, I myself, on divorce, after divorce number two was already done. I was involved in something that's called post-judgment, meaning after the divorce is done. So after the divorce was done, I'm, sued for, by my ex-husband, I'm sued for fraud and for custody slash access of my two precious twin daughters. And number one, the papers that he had filed, he hired, this great, amazing attorney, and the papers were all full of lies. And let me just tell you, and because my children were at issue, when I say it literally brought me to my knees, because when they had a service processor serve me, they had me served at my office, and my assistant Rachel, who's been with me for 8 years, she was there. And when I opened and began reading the papers, I lost my legs. So, like, I lost my legs, hit the floor. Poor Rachel had to peel me up off the floor, because it takes your breath away. Period. It takes your breath away. The other thing that I tell people, because this is my business, I do litigated custody. And what I always say to my clients, listen, I went through a custody battle in court, the whole 9 yards.
Did you defend yourself?
No, I had a lawyer, but I tell people, listen, and this is the truth. Custody battles and in court over your children is for losers. Absolute losers. Losers. And I was in that bucket. And then I further go on to say, if anybody is in court for custody and they're fighting over custody, like I was, I go, there's only two options. Option number one, both those parents are crazy as hell. They're crazy. Or one of the parents is crazy. Because if, in my case, the ex-husband was crazy, and you can't reason with when they're crazy. A crazy person, especially a narcissist, does not recognize collateral damage. And the collateral damage being the damage to your children by being in this custody fight, right? A narcissist cannot recognize collateral damage. They cannot get their head around, we can't do this to the kids. Let's work something out. We can't do it. They can't get
And we're
it.
ripping ourselves apart in the process too.
So two things exist. If anybody says they had a custody battle, either two crazy parents or one crazy parent, because two solid, whole people are going to protect their children. And they're also looking to protect their emotional selves, because they want to be their best emotional selves for the children.
This was just a wonderful, wonderful interview. I don't even want to close it up. Like, I could feel like we could just sit.
I know, Kim, you'll have to close it out, and then you and I will talk offline.
Yeah, literally for hours more. We talked before the interview. Literally, it's just been such a wonderful conversation. These are the conversations that we welcome here. These are the ones that we love. First of all, we want to thank you for this such a rich and honest conversation. Thank you for showing up with such clarity, compassion, and truth. Just want to pause with that. And we want to find out how our community, before we wrap up, how can people connect with you and learn more about your work and what
I
you
love
do?
it. So I invite all of your community to go to my IG and click follow.
Yes, follow
if
her. Her content is
follow.
amazing. But your content is incredible. I know that's not something we talked about. Like, you clearly take time. It's not just these static images. It's like really warmth and dynamic content that you're putting out. Like, if you're not following Mia from the content, we've shared her information, follow her.
Because I have a social obligation to try to be helpful. I do. Right? To whom much is given, much is expected. And I embrace that social obligation. And so we do respond to all the DMs.
Role in this, in the nation, doing the work that you do, and still willing to take that time and respond to DMs. And you have an amazing team. I've connected with specific people from your team. They're just phenomenal. They carry out the work. So, just the fact that you've offered that, so generous, so kind, so humble. Thank you so much for your time, Mia. We appreciate you bountifully, and we are looking forward to more to come. This is just the beginning. Hopefully we'll have you
There
on
will be.
another part 2, because I have a feeling people are going to be like, we need more Mia. We want to fight more.
I
We want
know.
to talk to her.
We'll talk, Kim, because I'm kind of already brewing in my head an idea for you and I.
I can't wait.
Iron sharpens iron, Kim. You know that.
Heavy lifting. We doing the lifting, girl. Thank you so much, Mia. Thank you. And special thank you to all of you that have checked in, tapped into this podcast. We appreciate our community. Share this out. Let other people know this information, and connect with Mia, connect with us. We really appreciate all of you. Go forth and have an amazing weekend, or whatever day this actually lands on your TV screen, your computer monitor. Be blessed. We will connect with you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.